Welcome to Reimagine Retirement. We are Jason
and Roma,
two early retirees. We are traveling the world using a variety of methods with a mid-level budget.
We hope to inspire you to expand your horizons on ways to travel smarter
and show you how to use your existing skills and resources to open up long-term travel as a viable option for you.
Our goal is to fuel a passion for the travel lifestyle and give you plenty of ideas how to make it happen in your own life.
If you can't wait to leave your job behind, but don't want to hamper your retirement savings,
we are here to show you what is possible and how to make this a reality in your life. Hi, I'm Roma.
And I'm Jason. Welcome to Reimagine Retirement.
Today we will be talking about planning your long-term or retirement travel and all the steps that will be required.
I would say the first step with anything like this is to figure out your budget. We want to make sure that you know how much you have and how much you can afford to spend on a monthly basis.
Once you've done that part, you can research locations on where you want to go. I would consider setting up travel alerts on Google Flights or other travel sites for your best travel deals.
You'll also want to figure out if you need to learn the basics of another language. If you're going to be traveling somewhere where the main language spoken is Spanish, you might want to take some Spanish lessons so that at least you know how to speak the basics and get along well in the country when you get there.
You want to consider how long will you be gone for? Is this a long trip or is this a lifestyle of travel?
For a lot of us, we've decided that we're going to pick up all of our routes and travel the world and explore as many places as we can over a long term. People that fit into this category do what we call slow travel, where we will be in one location for periods of generally a minimum of 1 month, sometimes up to 3 months, maybe 4, in one particular location before we move on to another.
Then there's those who are in a faster travel where they want to go to multiple locations within maybe a 2 to 4 week range. They want to check out the whole region and they're not limited to one locale.
For years, it can be quite tiring and actually obviously a lot more expensive as well because you get better deals when you book through longer term accommodations, etc. But we'll talk about that more later.
Some of the ways you can be traveling include cruises. Cruises can be added into your travel or it can be a lifestyle of cruises. You can be traveling with an RV, whether it's one that you own or one that's rented. You can be traveling on trains, on buses, on flights. So consider what is a fit for you and your travel needs.
Different people definitely have different things that appeal to them more. We've spoke to many people who trains are really the only way they like to travel. They don't like flights, so they'll stick to areas where they can take trains predominantly. Cruises, of course, are a big one for a lot of people. We've started to do things like repositioning cruises that will get you from one continent to another quite often, which of course is a nice way to travel. It's longer term and you don't end up being quite as exhausted as you might from a long flight if you're traveling, say, transatlantic or transpacific.
Something else you'll want to do in this planning and dream stage includes research what your rental options will be. Would you rent an apartment if you're there for a month or two? Would you consider an Airbnb? Or are you looking for more like a hotel or a hostel?
Now, for people who are doing the long-term travel, you can quite often find a lot better deals on platforms like Airbnb and VRBO if you do book for a 1 month or longer period of time. Quite often you can save 40, 50, 60% over what you would pay for a shorter term rental of a week or less. So for a lot of people looking to manage their budget, you will find that booking things for a month or longer through one of these other sites is often very, very beneficial and helps you to extend your travel. The other thing is quite often we'll look for off-season long-term rentals. If you're traveling to European countries, for example, you'll find, of course, during the peak seasons of the summer months, everything is very, very expensive. Whereas if you're going in, say, October, November, December, January, your rentals, of course, will be a lot more economical. While it might not be quite as hot in those regions, they're still beautiful and there's great things to discover even in the non-peak parts of the year.
If you're interested in long-term travel and you're trying to figure out how to make it work, one of the options that we suggest is using the HomeExchange program. So in our case, we set up a HomeExchange profile and we allow guests to come and rent our home essentially for guest points. And then we are able to use those guest points when we travel abroad. So at this point, you'd want to be looking into that program, maybe setting up a profile, getting guests to come in, considering where you might want to travel once you have some points in your pocket.
And we'll talk more about the HomeExchange program in a later episode. It is something that if you haven't set one up as yet and you do own properties, it is well worth your while to set it up. There are very, very many benefits to the program, but we'll talk about that more later. Another thing that we're making use of that we've talked to other travelers who do as well is the house sitter program. House sitting is a fantastic way to travel. You get to spend time in other people's homes. You look after their pets and their plants and sort of the daily life things that are necessary to maintain a home while they take a vacation. We have found that it's been extremely good for us in enabling us to travel to places that we might not otherwise have been able to do.
You're also going to want to consider what type of suitcase is going to work for your travel. So if you are going on a bus, you might be able to take a larger suitcase, but if you are backpacking into some jungle areas, you're going to need something very small and compact. So you have to start thinking about, are you going to need a backpack, or are you just going to limit yourself to a carry-on, or will you use a full checked bag? And how will that work for your travels?
Mm-hmm. Other things that we like to recommend is doing some research on travel options. YouTube, which you're watching now, is obviously a great resource for that. There are many, many different people out there that give great information on different ways to travel, different places to travel to, and keep doing your research on that.
The other thing you can do is you can join travel groups through Facebook and other online communities, and you can start to see where people are traveling to, what they're liking, where they're staying, and get some ideas and hints and tips. So enjoy this dream time in your life when you are researching and considering the options. It's going to get exciting. It's going to start to get really fun. Enjoy this stage and start preparing.